James Conner, actually, who came back around to you, I think that was a real nice pick by you. I actually weighed Kamara and Connor together, but other than that, it's like then we get into a full tier drop to guys like Tony Pollard, Isaiah Pacheco, Dave Montgomery, DeAndre Swift in round 6. So I agree with you that I think that 5th round is where the running back bets maybe start to get dicey, and I think we will see people converge in that path there, and it's either they'll go for the youth and the upside with Henderson or Caleb Johnson, or they'll go with these kind of boring old vets who we've seen for a while, which is the way that you and I went here.
Yeah, and I think like Kamara and Connor are 2 guys that are going in that mid to low end RB2 range, and yet still have RB1 upside. Like I mentioned this, and I feel like it's just a broken record by me, but every single year, James Conner, since he's been in Arizona, has been a top 15 fantasy back in fantasy points per game. He just keeps doing it every single year. And the thing that I always want to bring up with him, I did it last year, and again this year I'm saying it, is where you can get him, which is a lot cheaper than all the other guys that are really up in that, top 15. You don't have to pay up to get him. And then you can come back around and get Trey Benson, which I did in this draft. I got him later at the 9-10 turn. And it's not really going to cost you that much to lock up that Arizona backfield. But I feel pretty confident that if Connor does miss time, which people kind of blow that out of proportion. I know he missed time early in his career. He'll miss a couple games potentially. All running backs miss a couple games. Maybe that cliff will come, that age cliff eventually for him. But based on what we saw last year, I'm not that worried that it's going to come this season. And even if it does, I have Trey Benson there, who I like what we've seen from him in kind of limited stints, right? So locking down that backfield for what I feel is a pretty cheap cost, a 5th and a 9th round pick. If I had known that I could have done that, if I knew Connor was going to be there for me, I might not have even taken a running back, one of the running backs in the 3rd and 4th. I might have only gone with 1 instead of 2 there. But I really like the fact that I can throw Connor in the flex, and I know that I have that locked down with Benson there as well.
Yeah, I like that. And you took Connor at running back 23. I think there's a lot of ceiling there, and the risk is pretty much all baked in that he either declines or maybe Clayton Adams moving on to Dallas and taking some of the run game ideas there with him, as the former offensive line, like run game kind of mastermind there. Maybe that goes away. But I think, again, all that risk is sort of priced in. When we go back to these early round running backs here, before we move on to takeaway 2, where do you think the tiers break or broke in this draft in terms of like once we get to a certain group, this is where I'm not liking the running back bets as much in rounds like, let's just say 2 to 3 earlier than what we were talking about it before.
Honestly, I don't really mind pretty much any of the guys that went in those first 4 rounds. Like even you're talking about your hesitation with Kamara, but Kamara, he's put up good numbers like even last year. And who is there to challenge him? We talked about that a bit on the last show, right? Like I was a little bit worried about Kendre Miller and potentially Devin Neal, the rookie there. But then they bring in Cam Akers. So that tells me like they're still trying to find that number 2 back. I don't think they have somebody that's all of a sudden going to eat into Kamara's workload. And there is some potential upside